Welcome to another episode of Homemade, where I teach you how to cook authentic Bangladeshi recipes at home. Today I'm going to show you how to make Chana Masala, a simple vegan-friendly curried chickpea stew. It's saucy, creamy, packed with protein, and perfect for a weeknight meal. I'm using store-bought canned chickpeas, but you can use fresh ones too. Just know that you'll have to soak them overnight before use. Go ahead and remove the excess water from your beans and let them dry. Let's start with finely slicing one medium-sized yellow onion for the masala base. The onions should melt into the masala, so the thinner you cut them, the better. Chop up a bunch of fresh cilantro for garnishing later. This is optional, but recommended. One of these episodes, I'll learn how to properly juggle. It might take me a few hundred episodes, but I'll eventually get there. In the meantime, I'm cutting off the ends of 3 plum tomatoes, quartering them into even-sized pieces, and setting them to the side to blend. In our food processor, where we process food, let's toss in the tomatoes one by one, and in your best Gordon Ramsay impression, blitz the tomato! But seriously, you want to puree the tomatoes, so pulse until you get there. Next up for our heat component, I'm slicing in half 3 to 4 green bird's eye chilies. These are going in last as both a garnish and to add an extra bite. Alright boys and girls, I'm going to show you how to make a Chana Masala mix from scratch. Lightly temper the following spices before you toss them into a spice blender / coffee grinder. Peppercorns, cumin seeds, fennel, caraway, cloves, cinnamon, bay leaf, dried red chilies, and green cardamom. Give that a mix until all the spices are in powder form. The stuff is fresh and tastes way better than any store-bought spice mix. Go ahead and toss in the sliced onions and sweat them for at least 5 minutes. Let the natural sugars release and turn golden brown. I'm also adding in a couple of pinches of kosher salt to taste. You want to give that a good mix and cook the onions down for at least another 5 minutes or so. Once the onions have cooked down further, I'm going to go ahead and toss in a 1.5 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste, which is basically grounded ginger, garlic, and a little bit of water. This is going to add a ton of extra depth and additional aromatics to balance out the masala. After the ginger garlic paste and onions have cooked down, it's now time to add in the masala mix. Fresh spices can burn easily, so lower the heat and gently bloom the masala mix until the rawness has been fully cooked out. Add in about 2 to 3 heaping tablespoons of the masala mix and continue to stir so nothing sticks to the bottom of your pan. I'm also adding in 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder. You'll notice the onions immediately take on this beautiful dark brown color and nuttiness. Keep stirring. Once the spices have bloomed, add in the tomato puree next. Gently mix the spices with the tomato puree until everything is evenly coated. We're going to cook down the tomatoes for at least 8 to 10 minutes and let that gently simmer with the lid on. Eventually the sauce should reduce by a third. Now that the masala is robust and saucy, let's add in our chickpeas. Now, these are nearly halfway cooked and soft already, so they don't need a ton of extra cook time. We just want to coat the masala with the chickpeas and let them swim in deliciousness. Have a little masala bath, if you will. Gently stir and simmer for an additional 5 to 8 minutes with the lid on. And after about 10 minutes, the chickpeas are nearly cooked. I added in just an extra splash of water to thin out the sauce so it doesn't get too thick. This is the consistency that you're looking for. Saucy, but not soupy. You want the chickpea masala to simmer slowly and coat the back of your spoon. To amp up the richness of the chana, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of heavy cream and let that mix well with everything else. The heavy cream is going to add in an extra level of depth, richness, mellow out the spice, and just tie everything in nicely. Keep stirring gently until everything is evenly mixed. The masala will eventually turn from this beautiful dark red to this bright orange sauce full of depth and flavor. Final steps to finish off the chana is to garnish and add in the finishing touches. Turn off the heat and toss in a handful of chopped cilantro and mix that well. Terry, if you're watching this, I hear you about the soapiness. It's okay, bud. Add in parsley if you like. The residual heat will amp up the herbaceousness, yes, that's a real word, of the cilantro or parsley. I'm also adding in a few slivers of halved green chilies. I like adding them in last, and it keeps it nearly raw for an extra bite and heat. Give that a final few stirs and you're done. Simple yet flavorful chana masala that's packed with protein, rich flavors, and incredibly delicious. I like plating chana by itself with a few additional herbs. You can pair it with rice or any flatbread to sop up the extra masala sauce, but honestly, the chickpeas are hearty by themselves. Chana masala, an easy weeknight meal that I'm sure will be a staple Bangladeshi recipe for you at home. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you next time on Homemade.